Faith Kangede, and I'm delighted to be here representing Springboard Capital. At Springboard Capital, we don't just provide capital to fuel your business growth. We go above and beyond by offering advisory services through our BizSmart Webinars. We believe in supporting our customers' investments through expert guidance. Now, as we are about to start, here is where you can network. Remember, our network is our net worth, and you never know where your next opportunity may arise from. So let's connect, engage, and learn from each other. To all the ladies in this webinar, happy Women's Day. I request everyone to type in the chat box and wish the women in attendance a happy Women's Day. And because us women, we like being extra, please add an emoji to the wish you're typing. Could be a flowers emoji, a smiley face. Let's go. Let's type in those wishes on the chat box. Let's wish the women in attendance a happy Women's Day. Please remember to add an emoji just to make it a bit flowery, a bit extra, because as women, we like extra things, extra wishes, just something on top. You can see someone has put an emoji there, a love emoji. Yes, we love women. There's one with some roses. Happy Women's Day. Keep the wishes coming in. It's a beautiful day. It's a special day for women. It's an International Women's Day. Please keep typing on the chat box. Let's wish the women a happy Women's Day. I cannot see any man in the house typing, or even any chat or any comment or any wish. Men in the house, what's going on? Men's Day is also coming, by the way. Please type in the chat box. Let's wish the women a happy Women's Day. Add your emoji there, add your flowers, add your smiley face, whatever you'd like to use, just to make that wish a bit extra. I can see MC to everyone. Happy Women's Day. I'm not sure if this is a man, but I'm hoping, because this will be the first man to type here. Happy Women's Day. Men in the house, where are you? Naftali finally has broken the silence. Thank you, Ayeko. Keep typing. Let's wish the women in attendance a happy Women's Day. It's in an International Women's Day, just today. We are here to celebrate women. We are here to appreciate women today. Let's keep typing. Remember to add something on top to that wish, just a small emoji, anything, just to make it extra. Okay, I can see the wishes coming in. So thank you. Keep the wishes coming in. Don't stop typing. Wish all the women in attendance a happy Women's Day. And it's really a beautiful day to be a woman. It's a beautiful day to be a woman, and happy Women's Day to all women in attendance. Today, we are here to celebrate women, resilience, intelligence, and sheer awesomeness. Just look at the women close to you, be it your grandma, your mom, your sister, your girlfriend, your colleague, or even a friend. You can agree with me that where there's a woman, there's magic. Under this year's International Women's Day theme, Invest in Women, Accelerate Progress, it's imperative to recognize the pivotal role women play in today's dynamic landscape. From boardrooms to businesses, women are not just contributors, they are catalysts for change, innovation, and progress. So, why empower her? Strategies for women's success in modern business. Business is not just about leveling the playing field. It's about recognizing that empowering women is not just a moral imperative, it is a strategic one. In this fast-paced world, we are facing multiple unique challenges and opportunities. We are going to dive deep into the strategies, the insights, and real-world examples that illuminate the path forward for women in the business and the corporate world. Throughout our journey, we will uncover the undeniable benefits of fostering diversity and inclusion. We will explore how championing women's empowerment isn't just the right thing to do, but it's the smart thing to do. At this juncture, allow me to introduce our speaker for the day, Grace KIRAGURI. Grace exemplifies resilience, entrepreneurship, and a strong commitment to women's empowerment. Her journey from teaching to marketing and entrepreneurship reflects her dedication to pursuing her passion and purpose. Despite starting as a teacher, Grace transitioned into marketing, eventually completing an MBA in marketing from the University of Nairobi. Climbing the corporate ladder, she became the brand manager at PSI Kenya before founding Icon Sports Marketing Kenya Limited in 2007. This challenged the gender norms in the male-dominated sports industry. Grace's leadership has garnered international acclaim, including participation in Global Sportswomen Mentoring Program in Washington, D.C. Passionate about women's empowerment, Grace launched initiatives like She Delivers and Basketball Mtaani to increase female representation in the various sectors. Grace's outstanding contributions have earned her prestigious awards and recognition, including the World of a Difference Award. Beyond her professional endeavors, Grace is active in community engagement, mentoring youth, empowering women, and serving on the board of social responsibility. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be enlightened. Grace, the virtual floor is all yours. Please take it over from here.
Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. As you've heard from the introduction, my name is Grace KIRAGURI. I don't want to go back into many details, but I am who she has described. I have gone through the journey, being trained as a teacher, but I really never quite taught. And that's because I felt that that was not my calling. And then I ventured into marketing, eventually becoming an entrepreneur. So today I'll start by wishing everybody a happy International Women's Day. And world over, I think there's some colors that are used to depict the International Women's Day, one of them being green. Green stands for hope. And that's why today I decided to don my green color. Also purple and also white. So those are the colors that, denote the International Women's Day. I think purple stands for justice and all. So I want to just wish everybody a happy International Women's Day. And to just, again, have us walk about as to how this day came into being. I also want to just thank Springboard for giving me the opportunity. We'll start by that is our topic for today, to empower her. I thought the first important thing for us to do is to understand the genesis of International Women's Day. All of us are talking about this International Women's Day, and maybe we do not know or are able to retrace its roots. This day dates back to the 20th century, when women across the globe were advocating for their rights in the workplace and beyond. Back in those days, women couldn't even vote. Women couldn't work in the formal sector. So since then, the International Women's Day has evolved to represent unity, to represent empowerment, and to represent progress. It has been a journey for us women to get where we are today. And that is why we celebrate this day jointly, internationally, across the globe today. Every woman, every country is celebrating International Women's Day. And it serves as a reminder of the ongoing struggle of gender equality and the need to amplify women's voice in all aspects of society. And for that, I did manage to get a resource that you can share later on YouTube that gives the history of women of the International Women's Day, so that in the future, if you're asked, where do we celebrate this day? Where did it come from? Then right there, you have the information and you're able to also explain to others how it came about. And so before I even delve into my conversation, I wanted us to look at the keywords that keep coming out when we talk about women and empowerment. These words: empower, empowered, and empowerment. These are the buzzwords around this day, or around the reason why we are saying empower her. But I would like you to type in your chat, what comes into your mind when you hear the word empowered, or when you hear the word empowerment? It's not a buzzword, it's a real word. But I'd like to hear, just before I begin this delve into the discussion, let's hear if there are, let's see, I will not be able to see the chat, but I'm sure the moderator will be able to see at a later point that you know what it means to be empowered and that you know what is empowerment. If you know those 2-3 terms and you can throw them in your conversation, then you're onboarding this journey very well. But as you type, let me just progress. As you type, what you think you know is empowerment. Let me just break it down for you. To empower somebody, I'm getting this straight from the dictionary. It is the authority and the power to do something. You have empowered me to be able to speak today. So somebody has given me the authority and the power to do so. Empowerment, therefore, is a process of making me stronger, confident, and being able to be able to do what I'm doing right now. That is now empowerment. Empowered, therefore, becomes having the knowledge that you are empowered, that you can do things for yourself. So when you play in all those words, bring up and sum up to one thing, that it is an authority or a power for you to be able to know that you can do something and that you're empowered to do it. Back in the days, women were not empowered even to vote. So we've come from very far. So that empowerment has been a journey. And so I also thought, when we say empower her, it's good to say, from a women empowerment point of view, what do we mean by women empowerment? It is women acknowledging their sense of worth, who they are as women, from the gender perspective, that they are women and they'll never be men, but they accept that from a sense of self-worth, I am proud to be a woman. And then the ability to be able to make their own choices. Women were not in the past, and I'm talking about the 20th century, back in the days when women didn't even own property, when women didn't have an ID. But women now can determine, I want to have an ID, I want to make a choice, I want to make a choice in my decisions of where I want to work, whether I want to stop working, or how much I want to earn, and also the right to influence social change, social and financial change for themselves. You can decide today, I'm tired of being employed, okay? I want to quit and go and start a business. You are an empowered woman because you have the ability to make that choice. And that is why today we are saying empower her, strengthen her. And empowerment therefore means the continuous process of making each and every woman in this world to recognize their worth, to be able to make their choices. Like, I don't want to do medicine as a degree, I want to do media. You have that ability. It's not dictated upon you. But although there's a place where the choices limit us, especially if you're married, your right to choose might be limited. And I'm not talking to that in that perspective, but I meant in terms of just making life choices, that you have that as an empowered woman. And the right to make decisions and influence in parliament, in debates. Join there as an empowered woman and make your voice heard. So that's exactly what women empowerment stands for. Nothing else, nothing fuzzy, nothing showbiz. It's just a question of, can we as women recognize our self-worth, be able to make our choices, and be able to influence decision in our businesses and in the workplace. So I was then tasked by Springboard to discuss the strategies for women's success in modern day business. And when I was taught to talk about this topic, I decided not to go to the traditional textbook stories of how to make your business successful. I'm sure those stories have been told to women. They have been taught in classes that, access to finance, access to capital, access to market, access to how to develop a business tool, a business plan, all those as aspects that are needed to make a business success. And those strategies are applicable to both men and women. But I thought of using other strategies that for me are life skills, life skills. So I'll call them soft but very critical life skills that I have encountered in my life as a woman in business. And at this point, I would like to say that when I started, when she introduced me, I used to be I branched off. I'm a trained teacher. I never taught. I went into marketing and became a brand manager. But I lost my job. And when I lost my job as a brand manager, then the world was just open for me. What else can I do? What else can I do? And that's how the angle of being an entrepreneur basically, I turned my adversity into an opportunity, and I became an entrepreneur. And I'll be discussing that how that came about, and what distinguishes us from being in a business in a very male-dominated sector. That is sports. And I know back in the days, especially around the 2007, when I began my business, when you said you're in sports, people would look at you like, are you a man, or why would you choose sports? But I'll be bringing to you why it's important to choose a business that is unique to you, that makes you happy, and that you can be able to venture. So I will not dwell onto the normal strategies of business. I think those ones are learned in class, and they've been taught by every other entrepreneur classes that we attend as women in businesses. So I'll just first start by addressing, how do we become? For you to become who you want to be, I picked a quote from the Walt Disney, and I wanted to express it as, first, before you become, you have to think. And after thinking, you have to believe in yourself. And after believing, you have to dream. And then finally, dare to be what you want to become. And for me, this is just exactly my journey. I wasn't born a sports person. I played hockey in school as a way of securing outings. Not that I was very passionate about the sport. But when I went to the university, I didn't play. But how do I find myself in a sports sector? I'll come to that, because then that's a business idea that I saw that wasn't happening in Kenya market, and I decided to run with it. And so purely, it was more from an opportunity as opposed to a passion-driven business. So did I think? Yes. Did I believe there's a possibility? Yes. Did I then dream? I dreamt a lot. I used to visit the websites in the US. Then I could Google. Even then, internet wasn't as available as it is to us today. Back in 2007, I had to go and use, I think, African Online, I don't know, Mwananchi, you really have to go to a cyber to look for, I hope you can hear me. You really have to go to a cyber to look for internet, to Google my dream. I wanted to Google and ask myself, can I really do this business? Yes. And I started dreaming when I saw the potential of sports marketing in another market, not Kenya. I saw the US, the market was in dollars, big and huge dollars. I started seeing the dollars in my head. And as well I made the dollars, we'll come to that. But that's what I saw, and that's what gave me the daring ability to believe that there's a potential in that particular business. So I have arranged my thinking into what I think is very important for you to start with. The first and most important thing for us, especially as women, is to know our worth. One of the biggest challenges faced by female entrepreneurs is what we call the imposter syndrome. When you go to an interview or into a space and you feel like, I don't know that I deserve this success. And am I enough? Well, okay, am I quite enough? And I wanted to demonstrate this by how did I venture into the sports marketing arena? I mentioned at the beginning that I had lost my job. And then a friend of mine, a very dear friend of mine, told me, I know you've lost your job, but there's a job happening at Athletics Kenya, and they're looking for a marketer. And then I was like, but I don't run. And the first instant for me was, I don't run. Yes, I have my MBA degree in marketing, and I've got my marketing experience, but I'm not an athlete. She told me they're not looking for an athlete. They're not looking for an athlete. The athlete's work is to run. Yours is to market. That is when I thought, I think it makes sense. Let me go. So can you see, first and foremost, the mind was battling. When I went into that interview, it was very amazing. I walked in, and the interviews were such that I saw the person who was before me, and I thought, my goodness, this is a senior marketing person in this country. I'll not mention names, but she was the first one I found. I'm seated there at the interview place. I'm saying, what competition do I have? This is a senior marketing manager in this country competing for this job. As I'm still seated there, the second person entered. It was a he. Again, a prominent figure in this market. I'm just a young person who has lost my job. And I'm asking myself, surely, what are the odds of me getting this job? But you know what? At that particular moment, I started seeing what's going to be my edge. My edge cannot be the years of business, because these women have been in business, they have been in marketing longer than me as I look at them. So I have to get an edge. So I got into the interview. Having that fear, when I got in there, I decided I was going to change. My introduction of who I am and what I have done and what I think I can do for them is what I believe up to this day won the interviewers. I was able to win through my introduction. And I don't want to go into the depth of the introduction, but I'll just say two things. One, I give them my background of having worked in PSI Kenya. PSI Kenya that time was marketing the trust condoms. If any of you know, selling a condom is the hardest marketing responsibility that I can give you today. If I had done it for 5 years, and I wasn't just marketing condoms, I was marketing also family planning. It was a social marketing organization with very non-traditional products. But I tell you, so my convincing line was, if I have sold products that have social stigma, what is sport that people see it with passion? I can sell it twice. So I edged it that way. And I left there feeling like I think I have won. And for sure, my confidence, I didn't know anything about sports. I didn't run. I didn't do anything. But that was my entry now into the sports sector. That's how I ended up becoming the head of marketing, the consultant for a big government project that was coming into Kenya. So confidence, people can pick your energy when you get in there. And half the time as women, when we get in there, we diminish or devalue our energy and let the mind start telling us many things. We need to get in there, wear that know your worth. Whether, I'm not saying you lie, but make it look, it's how you present it that will make you win the day or lose the day. So knowing your worth, even though you have and then killing that imposter syndrome, the always feeling like I don't know. I don't think so. I think there are people in this market who know more than me. Nobody in this market knows more than you do. It is if you tell yourself that. That's the first important thing. And that's been my lesson in terms of everything else that I continued achieving in the sports sector. And you'll see along as I present. Again, the second thing is confidence. A sense of feeling sure about yourself and your abilities. I'm telling you, I gave these guys a super impressionable interview, even when I had not seen what the athletics sense of the business, but I was able to do that. But why is the confidence very important for us as women? Because we already exist in an environment where the cultural and social norms have influenced us into what we think a man can do and what a woman can do. But I'm here to demystify. Well, I'm not saying we can do 100% what a man can do, but there's nothing in this world from a career perspective that has been written the gender. It is we in the mind that we continue placing that. And again, we continue putting that gender type. But if we were able to approach it like any other job, and that is, again, another accolade I want to use my example. I always then learned to introduce myself as a sport marketing expert. Listen, I have just won an interview. So it's not like I'm the expert, but I was thinking this is my forum to position myself as a sports marketing expert. And I carried that after that consultancy with the government. I thought, why don't we open an agency? Two of us came together and opened a sports marketing agency. Again, why? Because then I had already believed that there's potential and had believed in myself as a sports marketing expert. So I opened the Icon Sports Marketing Limited in 2007. Many years ago, most of you could still have been in school. And every time I stood to explain my business, I made sure that I reinforced that I am a sports marketing guru. I didn't mince my words. And listen, at that particular time, the only sports I followed on TV was, I was a fan of Man U back in the days. So if you asked me what more than sports I knew, I just knew about Manchester United. I didn't know anything, whether we are winning or losing, but not that I knew about the technicalities of sports. But I know marketing. And there's something I know that a sports athlete doesn't know. An athlete knows how to run. A footballer knows how to play football. But there's a gap in the sports marketing sector because they may not have the whole exposure of the ecosystem. And that's the part that I've taken advantage of. And so when I introduce myself in forums, I would continuously say, my name is Grace KIRAGURI. I'm the managing director of Icon Sports. I'm sorry, I'm not using the word managing director in this introduction because the business right now is on ice. So it's on hold after COVID. But I'm still the founding director of Icon Sports. And then I would explain what sports marketing is and own that space. And for 2 or 3 forums I went to, I introduced myself back in the days, and then I'll be told, of all people who introduce themselves, can we have the 3 ladies who are in very unique sector stand up again? It would be me, maybe in the sports sector, another lady who was in fishing, who would be in women forum. And that's how I build my character, I build myself, and became the person who owns that space. So my advice to women is, whatever business you are in, Wear confidence every day like a cloak or a cloth. In other words, confidence is the most beautiful thing that you can possess. So whatever business you are in, own it. Whatever idea you have, own it and run with it and become the expert. Let people doubt you, but you are the expert. And it's only you who knows what you know. They don't know what you know. And they wouldn't dare ask you. So if you go in that attitude, then you're a winner. You will start winning in the morning. Watashinda jioni. And another thing, which is very important for us as women, is having the yes, I can attitude. One of the biggest industry players called Henry Ford, the founder of the Ford vehicles that we see on the roads today, he said, whether you think you can or you think you cannot, you're right. Anything, because it is you who thinks, it's in your mind. If you believe that you can, imagine you will. And if you believe you cannot, imagine you will not. So I chose, and I chose, and I tell very many women, let's choose the path of we can. And yes, we can, even when we do not know how to do it. And I'll use again the demonstration of my sports journey because it's why I'm here today. Pitching for sports marketing jobs. So now you've opened a business and you want to go and pitch for these jobs. After I did athletics, the next pitch I was called for was rugby. I'd never been to rugby, and I'm not a rugby fan, as you can see. I was not in the rugby business, but I knew something they don't know. The same thing I mentioned about having the ability to market. If you're a born marketer and you can speak, and you can speak to sponsors, and you can speak branding, and you can speak ticketing, you can speak TV rights, those are the key words that make the business of sports. And that's what you need to be speaking about. So forget about that I can't do a tackle in the field because that's not my forte. Forget the fact that I don't even know how you would score in rugby because that's not what is taking you there. It is just being able to go there and pitch. But also after rugby, I was called to pitch for golf. And again, I testify, my goodness, from where I grew up, I had never, ever been on a golf course. But what do you do when you want to pitch? You look for people who have that knowledge. They will have the technical knowledge. They'll know what is a green, what is a tee. I was even calling those playing sticks. They are called golf clubs. Me, I even had no idea what they are. But you go there because there's something else that you know that the rest of the panel doesn't know. And then you let the people who speak the golf speak golf. So you become a marketing agency, but you're not entirely the person who owns everything. But when you enter into that room, you go with a yes attitude. And another hidden lesson there for us is to know that success is not about you. It's about collaboration. I have pitched for work in rugby. I've pitched for work in golf. I've pitched for work in athletics. I've pitched for work in all types of manner of sports. But I didn't have to be a player. I didn't have to be an athlete. So that's why I'm saying it is using all the talents that you have to give you a winning attitude and in day-to-day. And even you in your own businesses, think, what would you want to do if you are pitching for work? It is believing that you can and that you will. And then do your work and give it your best. This is one of my biggest lessons that I have learned in this country and in this business, and even post-COVID, because post-COVID, like I mentioned, my business came to a halt. But what has continued making me a consultant, a sports marketing expert, is because of the years I spent doing very good work when I was running the active business. And this has continued following me to date. So don't be associated with shoddy jobs. They have a way of coming back to bite you. Go out of your way when you're delivering for your client. Get extra resources. Work even longer hours and go beyond, because your reputation is your asset. And this applies to every day of even those who are in formal employment, not necessarily only entrepreneurs, even in your church, even in your chama. Give your best, because they have a way of coming back to bite you. The only way to get great work done is to love what you do. So if you love what you do, give it a passion, give it your all, and it will not come back to bite it, because then your reputation is your asset. Yeah. So again, I give a point here. There's some work I did back in 2013 for Tallow Oil. If you know, Tallow Oil is a company that was extracting oil in Turkana. They gave us some work as an agency to go and run a sport, to go and do an athletic event in Turkana, in the middle of nowhere. It was then remote. There were no proper roads in Turkana. Putting them together was a hard job, but we pulled off a fantastic event amidst a point where I felt like I was between a sports marketing and a peace mediator, because there was a lot of push and pull. The community is feeling, why are you bringing for us sports and you're not bringing for us oil? I mean, there was a bit of that, but sports is supposed to bring people together. So putting it together was such a tough call. And I became a darling of the Turkana people. They liked my way of mediating. I had to shift from being the aggressive marketer that I am and become a mediator, like sort of go out of my way. And I want to show you, 10 years later, when I am sitting in my house, I just get a call. Somebody has referred me. Somebody wants to do an event of a marathon in West Pokot. And they have looked for who can do a marathon in an area that is remote. They are told, well, don't look no further. Look for a woman called Grace KIRAGURI. And they are like, a marathon, we're looking for a woman. You know, like a bit of the shifting that we need to do was like how. Then she was told she's the one who did our tallow oil event and it was excellent. And that's how I got referred back for this job. So what am I saying? Whenever you do your work, don't do it because you just want to finish and tick the boxes. Remember that work can be what brings your success 10 years later. I'm enjoying benefits of being a marketing expert, in a sports marketing expert 10 years later from referrals of work that I did in 2013. So whenever you do your work, do it well and do it with passion. That's another thing that I would want to bring out. Work towards a purpose. Don't just work for money. And this is also for entrepreneurs and also for people in the formal sector. Let your work speak for you. Let it be in your DNA. If today you're a customer service expert, or that is what you do for Springboard or whatever the company you are in, give it your best. And in the process of letting your work, understanding your work, you become an expert in that area in no time. Like I said at the introduction, I'm a trained teacher. I never taught in a classroom. But I did not think teaching was my passion. But I ventured into marketing. And now here I am as an entrepreneur, where I saw an opportunity after an adversity. So how am I here again as a champion of women empowerment? Because in the process of being an entrepreneur in the sector that I have been, I chose myself, apart from being an expert in sports marketing, I'm going to be an expert in speaking women matters around sports, around entrepreneurship, and I became the expert. And I gave myself that title. Nobody has given the title of champion of women empowerment. It's because of what I have been doing and has been following me, and therefore I have called myself that, and I have become. Why? I was chosen for a program. At one point when I went, let me take you back to a point where I was introducing myself in a conference where there were people from the embassy, and I introduced myself in sports marketing. And I was told again to stand up and introduce myself. And it was so marvelous to see a woman in that space at that particular time. Right now, I think we are many women playing in that sector. At that particular time, there were not many women. And that is when my voice was heard as a woman who is speaking about sports. And I got to be called to attend a session at the American Embassy. And after that, the rest is history. I was chosen for an exchange program that was to do with women and sports. And I went into a mentorship program called the Global Sports Mentoring Program, championed by the US State Department for women in sports. So you see, the minute you call yourself a champion, the minute you own that space, it's that God and the universe start aligning your stars towards that direction. That's how today I speak loudly as a woman, as an empowerment, because opportunities let me be. And when you believe in your purpose, on your calling, opportunities will find you. So I became the champion of the Global Sports Mentoring Program, and I have been championing women causes in this country to date. And that follows me, and she's mentioned. By doing that, I have also become a trainer of women entrepreneurs. I've trained women in the grassroots. I have trained women at the Academy of Women Entrepreneurs. And that's just been my journey of building and rebuilding and renovating. And then becoming now the owner of champion. In fact, I'm sure Faith must have wondered, how do I declare myself as a champion? I'll tell you, nobody declared me. I just told myself, that's my space. I'm owning it. And I have become. When I say think, dream, dare, and become, that's how I became. And then the real failure is when you stop trying. You know, I have to be very sincere that entrepreneurship is not an easy journey, and success is not always guaranteed. This one, no one tells you in class. Everyone tells you you want to be a real hustler. You want to go into entrepreneurship, begin your own thing, but no one tells you that it is the biggest risk that you take. You just dream of owning a business. You'll be operating in your own hours. You don't have to go early in the morning. There's no boss to make noise for you. But my friend, let me assure you that there are so many other risks that you take as an individual and as a business. And again, a case in point here. When I was in the 13th or 14th year of the business, I think I was 18. I dreamt of doing a big job, and I went for the big job. I told you, I don't get scared of big jobs. I went for a big job at the government level, and I hope I'm not speaking against government, but I'm saying I went for a government tender, and I'm just telling you, I had been doing work for private sector, but I thought the best thing now was to strike the government, and I strike it big. And there I'm going to be the biggest millionaire in this town. On the contrary, let me tell you, you have used your LPO to secure loans. I didn't know Springboard at that particular time, so I didn't come to you. But you've gone to secure loans from your circle, you've secured loans from the bank, you've secured to run this government job. And you are running because it's a big job. In the end, it almost brought me to a halt, not only as a business, but even as a person, because the payment system, it doesn't work like the corporate sector. It took me 9 months. I was in the list of pending bills forever. Those are the things somebody tells you, that you will be in the list of pending bills and not get paid. And no one is seeing like you're suffering. You're actually suffering. You got high blood. You're almost getting high blood pressure. If you're not a person like me who likes to laugh and just laugh it out, you get sick. So I realized that nobody tells us of these risks. And for me, that became the biggest scare in the business sector, that you can lose your mind and you can lose your business in a day because of the number of loans that you're owning. But are you supposed to stay down? Never. You're an entrepreneur and you've got the business acumen. You fall and you rise. You fall and you rise. That's the nature of an entrepreneur. There's no other way. Because what you start today could fail tomorrow, start another one and own tomorrow, and eventually you become. I keep talking about becoming because it's a journey. So success is how high you can bounce after you hit rock. And in my rock bottom, I also want to use post-COVID. COVID came to hit us really hard as business owners. And I think not all owners were hit hard, but people in the sports sector, for those of us who are relying in the business, sports didn't come into play for 2 years. No attending games, no inter-country programs. We shut. We had no business. You had to make a choice. Since you survived COVID, do you stay down or do you come up? You come up because you have no choice than to come up. And that's how I say that there's a bit of that you cannot stay down. So I've come back up, and I came back up, evolved, recharged, reset, and put the business at a standstill. But I continue being the champion of women empowerment and a champion of sports marketing. And up to now, I'm still doing a lot of work in the sports sector. I think some of you, I'll give my LinkedIn profile to see the current projects that I'm doing. I work with entrepreneurs and I work with the sports for development activities, and I continue doing that to date. Again, in the chat, I would want you to probably tell me about what you understand from the word persevere. When I ask you persevere, because business does not grow overnight. What can you define as perseverance? I may not be able to see the charts like I mentioned, but let me at least get one answer of somebody who thinks they know what it means to persevere, because this is the real heart of a business person and anybody else who wants to achieve a journey in his life. You have to persevere. You cannot become within a day. You cannot become within an hour. You become over a lifetime, because it's a journey of becoming. You cannot. So even in a business, you don't become a millionaire in the first year, neither the second year. But the third year, you start breaking even. So perseverance in what you're doing. And in fact, I thought I would define perseverance because it is a persistence of doing something despite the difficulties and not achieving results. If you're a faint person, you will not do business. The first year, you don't make any money. You don't even pay yourself. You don't even pay yourself. You can imagine, you don't pay. So if you think that you'll open a business tomorrow and in the next 3 years, you're driving a V8 from the business, you're actually lying to yourself. Building a business calls for great perseverance. And that is what, for me, I've called the staying power. Ask yourself why entrepreneurs stay even when they burn businesses. Unaanza hii inachomeka. Unaanza hii inachomeka. But we don't leave. We just hang around because we have believed in ourselves that this is the only way we shall become. We don't know any other way. We know we shall become because we have then shifted our minds to building, to being innovative, to being different. So we keep staying, and you have to have the staying power. That's a very critical aspect in managing your business today. More so today. Today, if you give up, you give up. There are many things that will come your way. Many things will come your way, including even tax, everybody's coming your way. But how do you stay on? We all cannot be employed. The market is not enough for us to all go into formal employment. We must remain there and create jobs. We must be the creators there must be creators and there must be takers. So we remain there as entrepreneurs. Even if you're going to employ one person, just stay there if that is your calling. Well, I'm not saying if it gets too thick, you can't go into employment. You can, because you've got the qualification. But then again, we have been given the staying power. an ability we have as entrepreneurs. Another very important aspect today is building a strong support network. You build networks to achieve success, to help you build ideas, to share your opportunities, to generate business leads. There is no way you will work in this industry in isolation and succeed. Because like I mentioned, all the sports activities that I go and pitch for, half the time I form a small team that has a technical lead who understands the game and me who understands marketing. Therefore, even you in your own business, think about how do I build a good network around all this ecosystem to ensure that you are able to continue being relevant. And I come again and give a case in point. I am an alumni. Like I said, I'm a beneficiary of an exchange program in the US, and therefore I'm an alumni of the alumni association here as a beneficiary. And being in that alumni space, they throw in opportunities for grants. They throw up opportunities for what? And you keep looking, because as an entrepreneur, you have to keep being open-minded. So as late as last year, I did get a good grant. I've just launched what we call the Basketball Mtaani. These are basketball sports initiatives for empowering women in basketball through sports and through mentorship. It's a program that we run for the next couple of months. Again, funded by the embassy, but I am the one championing it because I'm a sports marketing expert, like I called myself. I am in the network, like I said. You got to be somewhere where you can be found. There's this thing of not being anywhere, just you and your house. You don't get to grow. You don't get to hear the opportunity. I'm not saying you be everywhere, because again, if you're everywhere, you'd lose direction. But being in the right place at the right time works for you as an entrepreneur. Another important factor for me that has worked for me greatly is finding is the ability to have a mentor. This jargon in entrepreneurship, you can get sick. You can actually lose direction. Why? Because it's overwhelming. Because I said there are those things that you were taught in class when you were doing entrepreneurship classes. But when you come to the ground, vitu kwa ground unakuanga tofauti. You find nobody told you how to maneuver, how to manage cash flow in your office. No one taught you that you'll be paying people, that you need to be able to understand the Employment Act in Kenya. I mean, you're just a person. You're supposed to understand all these dynamics. You will not, if you don't do well in managing your employees and you're sued, there's no excuse that you didn't know about the Employment Act. So you're just one person, you're an entrepreneur, and you have the mind, but you don't know everything. And that is why it's very important to find a mentor. The mentor being a person, and I was saying, I said, who exactly is a mentor? Because I wanted also to think, do we all appreciate mentorship? Because I do. And I know very many people who have succeeded in their lives because they had somebody who walked with them in this journey. So for me, I define a mentor as a person who can guide, who can direct, or even support you. The mentors typically make time to know you as a person, as individual level. Then they know these are the strengths for Grace. Grace can go and talk. Grace can be our voice. Grace can be, but Grace can't do accounts. She doesn't know how to maintain. That's done by another person. Grace does not know how to play golf or will never be able to go and do things on the ground. But do you want to use Grace and tap onto her ability to speak? We amplify her voice so she goes and pitches for the business. So even we in our business, we need mentors who can tell us, Grace, you can do A, B, C, but leave D to so and so, to guide you, to support you, to give you their experiences. So again, mentorship can be either structured or unstructured. I have done both. I've done a structured mentorship program and a non-sponsored and a non-structured program. So it depends on what works. For me, they both worked for me. And I've mentioned that I've been a beneficiary of an exchange program, so I'll not go into it. But I never like to finish my presentation without telling people that it is very important also to pray and let God, because this world, there's so much we are carrying. There's, even as entrepreneurs, even as people who are employed, even as women, if we don't know how to humble ourselves before God, whichever God you believe in, if you're a Muslim, if you're a Christian, if you're a Hindu, there's a supernatural being that you look up to for divine intervention. Let us also be praying women. All these things I'm talking about, they come around to scare us, to put fear in us. But the Bible is always telling us, or the word of God is always telling us, do not fear, for I am with you. That's how I was going to sum up. But even before I sum up completely, I wanted you to know that the world is a world of possibilities and the world is your oyster. You cannot be looking at one thing, you're getting so stuck and you're stuck on it. No, because you've got an entrepreneurship mind, because you've got try become many things. And me, I learned to become many things after COVID. Before COVID, I was comfortable being just managing my own business. But after COVID, I have evolved, and I'll show you. And how do I demonstrate that? I have this vision I hope you can all see. And again, I won't ask you to tell me what you're seeing, but I know we're all looking at it and seeing different things. This is normally used for some personality or test, but I'm not using it for personality test. I'm using you to show that you can look at this thing and see only one thing. Somebody else is looking at it and seeing two things. Somebody else is seeing three things. Somebody else is seeing four things. So what am I saying? That sometimes we look at something and only see one way out, but the world has a way of us seeing these things in many ways. In your own free time, when I share these, ask yourself, what did you see in this picture? I don't want to mention them now, but ask yourself, what are you seeing? If you're seeing two things, that's okay. If you're seeing one, that's okay. If you're seeing three, that's still okay. And if you're seeing 4 or 5, that's still okay. And that is the first beginning of knowing that our perception, what we believe in, what we think, we could be seeing one-sided, but opportunities lie out there. Same to this picture. Most of you are going to look at this picture and what you see first. I want to pause and see whether people are seeing anything different or they're seeing, is anybody, again, because I can't see you, I hope you're seeing two things, not one thing. Faith will tell me on the chat whether they were able to see two things. And like I said, these images are normally used for personality tests. But when I'm training, I don't use them for personality test. I use them to show people how you can look at one thing and miss an opportunity because you're not seeing it at 360 degrees. We need to be looking at life and not looking at our obstacles, but seeing it from 2 or 3 angles. And if you stare on this image longer, you will see it is not one animal. So opportunities don't happen, we create them. And nobody told me there's an opportunity in the sports industry. I just went in there and I was able to create. And even now, when I'm not running a very active business, I'm a very serious senior sports. I told you I branded myself as a sports marketing agent, and I've continued getting work around that area. And so that is who I am. My name is Grace, I said. My number is there, 072285. I think the agency will be able to give you this. Again, I said, after COVID, I learned that I can't be a sports marketing expert. I am still the founding director of Icon Sports Marketing, even if it's still on ice at the moment. I am a sports for development advocate. I continue empowering people through sports. I am a trainer of entrepreneurship skills. I continue training and I train at the Academy of Women Entrepreneurs. I am a mentor. And when I began mentorship, it wasn't paying. I was doing it from a voluntary level, and I continued doing it at voluntary level. But lately, it is another small income that has come because I've been recognized officially now as a mentor. I'm a champion for women empowerment program. I just gave an example of 2. I have launched, we joined with another organization. We have launched a women empowerment program at the workplace called She Delivers. She Delivers is a program we've launched at our logistics and transport industry to try and encourage more women to enter into that sector. As you're aware, the transport and logistics industry is a very male-dominated sector, but this is a sector that worldwide is now gaining a lot of support for women to join, and we need to break the myths and the barriers around that sector. And we've launched a program called She Delivers in conjunction with Creed Holdings. I've also launched Basketball Mtaani program, again, an initiative of empowering women who are in sports in conjunction with the American Embassy. So I continue being a champion of women empowerment programs at all levels. And I told you, I gave myself the name champion and it has stuck. I'm also an alumni of the American Exchange program. So in your world, go and think far and wide, what else can you become? And that right there marks my end of the presentation. And I just want to thank you for listening. The challenge on online is that you never see the reaction of your audience. You can only believe and trust that you've created an impact. And if anybody wants to see me or talk to me thereafter, I am available and my numbers are available there through Springboard. Thank you very much. I'll take it back to the moderator of the session, Faith.
Wow. That was such a great presentation, Grace. And in the interest of time, maybe we can take some 2 or 3 questions. So we have a question here from Swabri. How do you find and know the right network? My life revolves around work and my house. I fear getting into friendships without value. Maybe you can answer that in the shortest time possible, Grace.
Yeah, I think I would agree with her. Sometimes it's very scary. But for me, I aligned myself with women entrepreneurs. I want to be it's not social. Most of my networks are not social. The social for me remained as chamas. The chamas are critical to support your social life. But when it comes to business, do you want to join even customer service? Why don't you join the Customer Service Board of Kenya? If you are in marketing, why don't you join Marketing Society of Kenya? And even I fumbled at the beginning. Remember, I'm a young entrepreneur. I also fumbled. But I found the Federation of Women Entrepreneurs, which was an umbrella for many of them. I don't know if they still exist, but that was my first entry into the entrepreneurship space because I had already called myself an entrepreneur and I was not walking back. So you need to find where purpose, where do you want to go? And then align yourself with those networks. And sometimes I can also assure you, some of those networks are also a waste of time. But you'll get in there. It's better to get in there and discover than when you stay on the periphery. You get in there, put your head in there, and then realize this is not adding value. I've paid some networks 5,000 membership, 3,000 membership, and then 2 years end, you've never had an engagement. You say, then you tell yourself, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. It's a gamble.
Thank you, Grace. I believe you have answered the question to Swabrin. We can take the last one from Jacqueline Weni. She's asking, how can women balance business ambitions with personal responsibility and maintain work-life harmony?
Yeah, this question is always coming across because sometimes when we bury ourselves in work, we forget our families, we forget our other lives. But I personally believe in having a program. For me, like today I was in a session just before this one, and I was going through a Google Classroom, and they asked me, can you load this app on your phone? And I said no, because if you load the app of work on your phone, then work follows me to my bedroom, to my house. No, I don't want to have a work email on my phone. So for me, I have managed to I don't know whether some of you work at night when you get your mails from your boss, you answer. So you find yourself, personally, I've made a strategy that the work, my phone, when I finish when I go up or go to my house, I have finished my work. And so that means that I can spend time with my family. I can do, like you had, I'm also very strong in my church. I'm the chair of the board of social responsibility. I have a big position in my church. I'm a deacon. I'm still able to roll. Why? Because I have arranged my time, and therefore I'm very deliberate on what activities I engage in. If you engage in everything, you'll get lost. So I know every single day, this is my church program. This is how I deliver for my church. And this is what I do. This is how I deliver for the She Delivers program. I work for the She Delivers program on Thursday. This is what I do for Basketball Mtaani. I do Basketball Mtaani program on Monday. So can you imagine how my mind has to run across basketball? It's a sport, a program I'm running with Embassy. It has to run She Delivers, an internship program on Thursday. I have to run church. I have to run my son. I have a family. So I've arranged, I'm not saying I'm successful in all that, but I think having a personal calendar really is going to be what is going to save you. Because if you don't have a personal calendar and you want to do 10 things like I do, you won't succeed. Sunday, you won't wake up because you'll be burnt out. And also, do you have a sports activity that you do? I encourage every woman to have an activity that makes them walk, run, swim. Those of you who know me, I walk a lot. I even used to run. Okay, I've slowed down on running. But you must have something that helps you remove that energy. Run, walk, swim, balance it. It's normally a very hard question, and I like the person who it's debatable. I don't have the correct answer, but it's debatable. It just needs you to have a plan for your life. The same way the company here has a plan for their 1 year. I'm sure Springboard has a strategic plan for 1 year of what they're achieving in this year. Am I right? If Springboard has a strategy, why don't you have a strategy for yourself? So that strategy of yourself shows you the different things you must do and when you must do them to achieve them at the end of the year. And that's a challenge I keep throwing to women.
Okay, thank you so much, Grace. Just to summarize, there are a lot of comments, powerful, empowering. Thank you. Thank you for this powerful presentation. That was great, awesome. Thank you, Chris. That was such a powerful session and a very great presentation. If you want the presentation, we have shared the link on the chat box. You can just click on the link to view the presentation as well as submit your details, contact details. We have some good news. We have a hamper for the 2 most active members on the chat box. So drum rolls, Mary Kamore, Susan Amalemba, and Swaprin Owino. You walk away with a gift hamper from Springboard Capital Limited. And also because it's Women's Day, we are grateful to all our women customers in attendance today. We'll be gifting each and every one of you. What you'll be getting is this very beautiful branded water bottle from Springboard Capital Limited. You can see how beautiful it is. Kindly liaise with your relationship officer so that you may get your gift, and may you always feel valued. To all our webinar participants, all the new participants in this webinar, Springboard Capital is a microfinance company that has transformed lives by offering financial services to individuals and businesses for the past decade. Yes, we have been in existence for 10 years. If you need money, we are here to serve your needs. You can find us at a town near you, or you can reach out to us through your preferred social media platforms. Thank you very much for tuning in. See you in our next webinar. Bye-bye. Ciao.